Hi, my name is Natalie Lynn.
Oh my god. Beefaroni on the fucking curtain.
I am back in my hometown, Oregon right now with my van, Spiffy, and I'm gonna show you how I got these shots. All right, let's look at the first one. So this was a stop motion thing that I did for the intro to one of my Borderless series videos. At the end of the video, it's revealed that it's like a scrapbook. Like I send this scrapbook to Simon and it's like this like gift to him because of how much the trip impacted me. And so it's almost like the scrapbook is being made as the video plays or like as the experience happens, like all these memories. It kind of feels like this is building up into like a bigger story. But I didn't want anyone to know it was a scrapbook. I wanted it to kind of be like the scrapbook is being created as the video goes on. So it's just this really like zoomed in shot of all the screenshots and little like mementos from the whole Canada adventure. I did each piece of paper individually, like the animations. I would just screenshot whatever footage I had in my editing timeline and print it out and then cut it in the shape that I wanted. Like I'd kind of animate it by taking multiple different pictures with it like moving. So like every single one of these texts is like individually shot pictures and animations. I knew that I wanted this van to be like the opening to the montage that I was editing. Like I wanted the scrapbook to turn into the video. So what I did is I exported a still of the entire back image of me and Simon. It was Simon's drone shot of us on the van. I printed out 2 different pieces of paper of that. One paper that's that back image, and then the second paper, I just cut out the van, right? So I could animate that on its own. And that way, when I was editing in Final Cut Pro, I could get it to like kind of bounce forward and go into the image. It's a seamless transition because it's already like there. It's like a trick with the eye, kind of. Okay, the next shot, this was a match cut I did also in one of the intros of Borderless. I basically just drove my van to like a bunch of different places, pulled out my camera, pulled off the side of the road. I want to say I maybe counted how many steps I took away from my van, like maybe like 15, 20 steps, set up my tripod and tried to get it relatively in the middle of the frame. I think I tried to make sure that my focal length on my lens was like 24 millimeters every time, so it didn't look like really wide 1 minute or like really close the next minute. The shot's actually originally very crooked, because it was also like uneven surfaces most of the time, like when I would back up from the van and go to get the shot. And so I had to kind of play around with it a lot and like recrop the image in my editing timeline. Yeah, you can fix a lot with editing. The next shot, oh God. This I don't recommend doing for anyone. I really wanted to climb this bridge called Vance Creek Bridge. It's in Washington. It's been on like my bucket list for a very long time. There's a bunch of videographers, photographers going to it. I didn't realize how like sketchy it was to climb this bridge until I started doing like research on it.
It's incredible. Crazy high.
It's 378 feet high.
The second highest railroad bridge in the US.
We pull up the day of and we realize like, oh my God, we're gonna have to walk across these like metal planks to get to the actual bridge. And if you fall, you will die, 1,000%. I wanted to get a shot of it, but I obviously didn't want to have my camera like vlogging as I'm going across this really sketchy thing. So I pulled out my drone and then I flew up my drone in the air and then we needed to start walking across this, right? But if anything bumped these, then the drone would like run into a tree or something. So I had to take these out off the controller, which was just really sketchy because, you know, if like I dropped it off the bridge, see, they're so easy to drop. This is probably one of the sketchiest things, if not the sketchiest thing we've both ever done. I feel like drone shots just look cool no matter what. And so I try to not like overuse them unless they're like a big part of the story. My friend pointed this out to me actually. He was like, damn Natalie, you kind of use like drones like as if they're like a crane. Like I kind of just let it hover in the sky. I don't really like to fly it around a bunch because I think it can be kind of like distracting to the actual story. So for this next shot, this was like just a journal entry, but I wanted to make it look cool. There's this like lamp thing. It's literally like $10, $15. And I just put it up in my window and reflected it off of a mirror. The mirror really helped the beam shoot exactly down on the spot that I wanted. Otherwise, the whole shot would have just been yellow. This lighting in the window right here was one of those little like bar lights. It's ironic because the sunlight lamp looks cooler and was like easier to set up, whereas like this was supposed to be like professional lighting and maybe I just wasn't using it right. But yeah, I tried putting it in my window and like tried to get it to come down here. I had to show me doing the same thing every single day for like 4 months in a span of like 3-4 minutes. And so just to show that I journaled a lot during those 4 months, and then I edited a lot during those 4 months, and then the keys are right here if I'm like about to leave, because I'm in the shot, I'm writing my last journal entry before I like get on the road and finally like get out of my room and stop editing. Honestly, yeah, I have like no knowledge on lighting. Like when I filmed this video, I had no idea what I was doing. There's like that saying, it's like film the shadow side of the image, put the lighting behind you. And that's what I tried to do with this. Because lighting directly on an image just kind of looks like you're on like a stage or something, or like in a play. The lighting doesn't really look like super realistic, and I kind of took that from Euphoria. I don't think I was able to do it at all as well as Euphoria, but I love how in that show there's just so many colors everywhere, and the images are really like shadowy, but just also like really bright and like purple in certain sections. And so I kind of tried to do stuff like that. I shot this entire video on the Sony A6600, which does not do S-Log 3. So I was kind of shooting like I knew pretty much what the image was going to look like from what I was able to see in the viewfinder. Whereas now I use an FX30 and I can get a little more like nitpicky with how I expose things. I would say I exposed most of these shots by just like my eye from what I was able to see in the viewfinder. Yeah, just playing around with the lightings a lot in the background. There's a lot of like trial and error. Oh yeah, this one was fun. I just taped my action camera to my fan, put it on like the widest angle I could. Then I used the sunlight lamp again, and I just sat in all these different places in my room in different outfits to show like the span of time kind of passing. Each thing was its own shot. I think there was a total of 3 different clips, and I would just roll like straight through. I wouldn't stop the camera because it was so hard to get up on the ceiling. I would just go change in the corner of my room. I had like a pile of clothes, like the clothing I wanted to wear, to kind of show me going through the days. I filmed this shot, I think, first, show me in the white shirt, and then I would go change. And then I'd go in like a black shirt, and then I would go change. And then whatever. I did that for every single shot all the way around. A lot of the scenes in that section are like very depressing vibes. I was trying to evoke a feeling of like depression. So I used a lot of blues, more muted colors, I would say, and there's a lot of like shadows. It's very like dark most of the time. But then I start writing a journal entry that's saying that there's like a bit of hope, you know? I kind of wanted it to feel like it's early in the morning, the sun is rising, and I'm about to head out on the road for the first time in 4 or 5 months. I put the sunlight lamp on a warmer shade to kind of just make it feel a little more like things are looking up from here in the film. It's not just all going to be depressing. I like to film conversations from like a bit of a distance sometimes. Good morning. We slept here last night next to a train. The camera sometimes just feels a little like intrusive to be right there, or it like helps you be in the moment more in the conversation you're having to not just like be directly looking into a camera. So yeah, we were like just sitting up on top of the van right here. I used my phone for audio. This was definitely a wider angle shot, probably like 16 millimeters, but it's an APS-C camera, so it's actually like more cropped than 16 millimeters. I just wanted as much footage as possible to work with. So I got this shot and then I ran back to the camera, zoomed it in, and then got back up on the van again. We got to this spot pretty late at night initially, so we just parked the van wherever. But then when we saw like the sunlight come in the next morning, we were like, oh my God, this is a really cool shot. So we reparked the van so it'd be like right in the middle of this thing right here. And yeah, I tried to just make sure this whole thing was like centered in the middle of the frame. This was straight up here. I use like a grid line on my camera a lot of the times, so it's easy to kind of tell if something is like straight or not. Or I'll just fix it in post-production if it's crooked and I don't have time to like set it up. All right, that is the last one. I hope that all made sense. that's how I get my shots.